This is Revealing Truth by KamiSuki, read to you by Lala's Podfics. Summary. Jin GuanShan found an array to make a spying mirror and decided to show the world exactly how evil the Yiling Patriarch was, and the truth was revealed. Jin GuanShan had never been more impatient. His whore son, Jin GuanYao, had created the plan to get himself the yin tiger seal and finally stand above all the sects with no room for objections. He had zero trust in the bastard son of his, but his plans had worked, so Jin GuanShan had kept silent. Not anymore. He could not for the life of him understand why that bastard was against using the array he had found from the library Wen Wuxian had created by collecting rare books from all the clans. He had stolen from there one of the Lan clan's texts that contained a method to spy on targeted individuals or areas which Lans didn't use since they were honorable or something. Wouldn't using this array at one of the discussion conferences prove the guilt of the Yiling Patriarch's evil and the army he was building with those Wens? Then he could easily rile up the sect leaders to take action. He could not believe his bastard son low brain capacity. Wen Wuxian must have truly been stupid to fall for his schemes. He had been peeved that the other sects refused to take action before this, but they surely would now. He was going to show the world the Yiling Patriarch's evil at the discussion conference held that day at Lanling. Jin GuanShan made sure that his bastard son was not allowed at the meeting. That thing was useless now anyway. He would throw him out soon. Welcome, he basked in the glory when the sect leaders bowed to him. He ignored the fact that it was polite courtesy for the host. His thoughts made him smile as he sat down at the head of the conference, thinking that soon after he would be seated at an even higher position. Today, my fellow sect leaders, I have something to show you. I've been warning everyone about the potential threat of that demon spawn, the Yiling Patriarch, and found a way to convince my fellow too good-hearted sect leaders of his evil. The noise around him hushed until it grew loud. Lan Zichen was the first to speak. Please do explain, sect leader Jin. Of course, Jin GuanShan could no longer hold back his smile. I'm sure you might recognize what this is, he said as he waved his hands towards the servants. They brought a large mirror covered with gold cloth. It was big enough to be the size of a screening partition. At the wave of his hand, the servants removed the cloth. A large array was drawn on the mirror with blood. It had yet to be activated since it missed a single stroke. He heard some of the senior Lans gasp, including the sect leader, though it was less noticeable. Jin GuanShan didn't fight the smug smile that came to his lips. This, Jin GuanShan spoke again, not allowing the young sect leader of the Lans to speak. I'm sure you know what this is, and I believe your explaining and activating the ray would leave the other sects assured. Isn't that for the best? There was an indignant gasp from the Lan sect disciples, which slightly amused Jin GuanShan, but Lan Zichen did not speak for a few moments. He glanced at his uncle, and Jin GuanShan let his focus shift to the alcohol in his hand, which tasted much better today. Very well. Jin GuanShan watched with amusement as Lan Zichen got up and walked towards the mirror. He listened to the familiar explanation the Lan boy gave. This is an array that was created by one of our ancient Lan ancestors in a time of calamity. This array is only taught to the elder Lan disciples, and the texts had been thought to be lost in the fire. I'm sure sect leader Jin will give an explanation on how he came across this, but for now, let me explain the array's purpose. He watched the boy pause to take a breath. This allows one to spy on certain individuals or an area. We do not use this unless circumstances turn dire, for it is not a very honorable method. The Lan boy paused to look at him, but Jin GuanShan felt no shame at his provocations. It was the Lan sect that was too uptight. The array is perfectly completed except for the stroke to activate it, which I will add now. He watched with delight as the Lan boy cut his finger slightly on his sword and completed the array. The young sect leader came back to his place. Sect leader Jin, would you like to see the burial mounds or what? The Yiling Patriarch? Since the boy completed the array, he would have control over who or what it shows. The burial mounds. The mirror dimmed, then brightened, and a bird's eye view of the burial mounds came into their vision. The young land leader had his eyes closed. Everyone could see that he was concentrating. The projection needed much spiritual energy after all, which is why he did not activate the mirror himself. Soon, the view of the mirror zoomed in and followed the sight of an elderly man who walked with a basket of radishes further towards the deepest area of the burial mounds. Nobody spoke as the man worked in a sort of field in the burial mounds, harvesting some more radishes. Finally, another man came into view. This man was slightly younger, but only since the original man was so old. "It's time for lunch," the second man said. Soon the mirror's view followed the second man into a rather larger cave where many more people, mostly in rags tainted with dirt, were seated talking amongst themselves. The people at the conference peered, trying to spot the warriors that the Yiling Patriarch was accused of harboring. They saw none, only old men and women who were worn and tired. There were many people who started to whisper. Before Jin GuanShan could get angry at the whisperers, the man they originally followed came into view. "So, what are we having today?" "Why ask? Isn't it going to be the same form of radish?" someone replied for him. "No, actually, young Master Wei got potatoes." "What?" The people of the burial mounds laughed as they exclaimed, as if the third man who had come into view said some kind of ridiculous joke. The man who said it also laughed with them for a while before he spoke again. "Actually, it's true. Lady Wen allowed him to buy some, even if we weren't able to afford them for a while, saying that everybody was sick of eating radishes every day anyway." "Ah, poor young Master Wei. I hope he wasn't scolded." They all laughed again. The conference hall was speechless for a while. Finally, the Yiling Patriarch came into the cave as well. To everyone's horror at the conference, he sat down with the ragged men and women and drank potato porridge that looked thinner than water, exclaiming and singing, "Potatoes, potatoes!" in a sing-song manner. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed the Jang boy's eye twitch. Jin GuanShan felt too confused to do anything. The whispers were more obvious now. The view went around the whole burial mounds, but the only people were the men at the cave. Soon the Yiling Patriarch was out and about, bustling around everyone, joking and teasing the old men and women who smiled kindly at him. Soon he was among some makeshift fields where radishes were being planted. He kept complaining that he wanted potatoes. Jin GuanShan felt too faint to speak. Then the ghost general came into view. He would have felt a bit relieved if not for the laughing child the fierce corpse was gently cradling in his arms. It somehow made the cold corpse with the frozen face look softer. The child was quite adorable, and he heard some of the women coo at his adorable sight. "Xiang Ge!" The child immediately tried to jump out of the corpse's hands, to which even the frozen corpse looked slightly frightened and let the child gently on the ground, only for him to run and hug the Yiling Patriarch's leg. The smile on the Yiling Patriarch's face was practically blinding. "Ayun! Oh, Ayun! What are you doing here?" "Play with Xiang Ge!" "Oh, Ayun! Do you want me to bury you?" Jin GuanShan took delight at the gasp that escaped from some of the attendees. The Yiling Patriarch took the child and half buried him among the radishes. He launched off into a ridiculous story about planting the boy to sprout more friends for him. Before he could finish, another person whose white appearance contrasted with everything that was showing among the burial mounds came into view. Lan Wangji appeared. No wonder the second child Lan was not here, Jin GuanShan thought, irritated. "Wei Ying!" The Yiling Patriarch's head turned. "Lan Zhan, you're here!" "Promised Ayuan to come for lunch." "You're late then. Ayuan already had lunch." "Oh, my apologies then, Ayuan." "Rich Gaga!" the child exclaimed, clearly not following their conversation. Look, like I was saying, Ayuan, since I planted you like this, you'll grow tall and strong, like Rich Gaga over here." "Really?" The child turned his doe eyes to the lawn. Second Jade of Lawn slightly bent over Ayuan and made a show of considering the thought. Was said with a slight nod. The child smiled so happily that the people in the conference cooed. Lanjan, is it really okay to be here? I know what the rumors say of me, even if you and I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong by protecting these people, but I don't want you to get caught up in this mess.
You don't want me here?
Oh, Lanjan, you know that's not true. It's nice for you to come once in a while, but it's fine. Whatever you say. Wei Wuxian, a woman's voice screeched through the mirror. Ah, Lanjan, save me! The Yiling Patriarch proceeded to hide behind the lawn. A woman in wen-red clothing appeared, seething in anger. How many times have I told you not to bury Wen? I'm sorry, the Yiling Patriarch sobbed behind the lan, whose stoic face slightly shifted to show the slightest amount of amusement. We do not have enough water here. God, you're so washing his clothes. I can't take this anymore. The Yiling Patriarch continued to tremble dramatically behind the unmoving lawn. The woman picked up Wen, gave one last glare at the Yiling Patriarch, and left with a huff, the ghost general at her trail. Oh, Lanjan, how come I'm the demon? It clearly isn't fair. Rumors are too biased. He dramatically expressed his woes, laughing every once in a while. Suddenly, the man doubled over and coughed, a ridiculous amount of blood into his hand.
Wei Ying!
The second jade of Lin was immediately by his side and tried to pass spiritual energy to the man. The Yiling Patriarch tried to refuse and push the jade away, but was caught up in another coughing fit.
Wei Ying!
The second jade looked horrified, but not at the amount of blood he coughed up.
Wei Ying, what happened?
Lanjan, the Yiling Patriarch's coughing fit ended, but he looked more pained at whatever the second jade figured out than whatever physical pain he was suffering in.
Wei Ying, tell me.
The Yiling Patriarch sighed at the second jade's determination. He quickly took a look around and looked right in the second jade's eyes. The second jade spoke up again.
Wei Ying, what happened to your golden core?
The conference hall went utterly silent. The Yiling Patriarch looked pained, but spoke once more. Can I have your word? The jade nodded.
Of course.
I gave it away. Nobody spoke, not even the second jade of Lan. I gave it away to Zhangchan. He needed it more. He was to be the sect leader. Lanjan, swear to me. He must never know. I swear, but Wei Ying, is that why? Yes, when Wen Shou threw me into the burial mounds, I didn't even have a core, but I had people I had to protect, Lanjan. I couldn't just die, so I harnessed the only thing here, the thing that was trying to kill me, to do my bidding, Wei Ying. And it did, Lanjan. I protected everyone I wanted to. I got revenge as well, but these people here have nothing to do with that.
I know, Wei Ying, but
what, Lanjan?
You'll die, Wei Ying, you'll die.
I know, that's fine. One less evil in the world to worry about. He smiled again, one that was very self-deprecating.
Come back to Gusu with me.
Lanjan, I just told you, I have to protect them. I owe Wen Ning and Wen Qing my life, and these people have done nothing wrong but be born in the wrong clan. The second jade of Lan went quiet for a bit, his head held down. Then he spoke again, more determined this time.
If I could find a way to give them the safety they deserve, will you stop your demonic cultivation? In the least not cultivate any further?
The Yiling Patriarch considered for a bit before he frowned. No, he said determinedly. You're not a part of this.
Wei Ying, please!
The Yiling Patriarch took the second jade by his hand and practically shoved him out of the burial mounds. You're always welcome here, Lanjan. Just not today. Clear your head before you come back next time.
Wei Ying!
The Yiling Patriarch ignored the pleas and left. Perhaps it was only those of them who were watching through the mirror that heard the Yiling Patriarch's parting words to the jade, mumbled underneath his breath. I'd never forgive myself if you got hurt because of me. Jin GuanShan decided he'd had enough. He walked over and smashed the mirror. The two sibling Jiangs were crying their eyes out along with a couple of sobbing senior disciples, huddling each other. Sect Leader Ni smashed the cup in his hand against the table, breaking it to splinters. And all of their glowers fixed themselves on him. The end. Author's notes. I'm happy to see that people like this, but I wrote it as a one-shot and this can't be continued. I tried, but once people figure out Wei Ying doesn't have a core and Jiang Wenyin's core belongs to Wei Wuxian, it won't end well. In the least, I can't think of a good enough happy ending without making them go through a lot of angst, which I refuse to write. If someone can continue this and bring them a happy ending, I will be very glad. Podfic's notes. I absolutely love this story. I love stories where Jin GuanShan screws himself over and accidentally fixes everything. And I know the author said they weren't sure how to get a happy ending out of this, but I feel like they already did enough because you just know Lan Zishen and Ni Mingzhui and Zheng Cheng are not going to let him get away with this. They're going to have to fix stuff because of what they just saw. And that's enough for me. So it was a really cute little one-shot. Please go to archiveofourown.org/works/247-697-95 to leave comments and kudos for the original author. Have a great day.